Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the final word of the season. Yes.
Get in there.
Sarah Halpin from the Blue Room. She's here to criticise Big Sam, who looks like he's going as well.
Where's the champers, Ped? I know I don't drink, but I feel like we should be doing something to celebrate this.
What would be the alternative?
Like a Capri Sun.
Capri Sun? No, because that's really sticky.
It is.
Ah, and there'd be wasps all around it.
Maybe a sparkling water. We'll go for a sparkling water.
If you know the alternative to champagne that's non-alcoholic and also very cheap,
get at us.
It's like, that's like, you know, when you're watching Man City spraying it all around them, and you think, could have bought a new player with that. Well, you couldn't have, we could have. Anyway, let's get into this. Final game of the season, West Ham away. I don't know about you, but I wasn't too confident going into this game, just because I thought, and as we discussed on the match preview, as well as a lot of Willy Wonka chat, which was really weird, but we did that. We thought
one of them seasons, hasn't it?
It has. But one of the things for me certainly was that I didn't think the team would get themselves up for this game.
Yeah,
and they didn't.
They didn't. It's what we kind of all expected, I think, from the last game of the season. We knew we'd finished 8th, or it's pretty well guaranteed anyway.
It nearly wasn't.
Yeah, what a mad game that was.
I know.
So at least there was something worth watching on Match of the Day on Sunday. So that was a great game, and of course that meant we finished 8th, which apparently, coming from the club and captain, is supposedly something to be celebrating, which we know it's not. And yeah, they just struggled to get themselves up for the game. It was a strange formation as well, wasn't it, that he went with, kind of like the 3 at the back, and Keane again, we'll go on to talk about him, but the defence, Ped, was just anonymous, wasn't it? It was embarrassing. Watching it back, watching it at the time, it's just embarrassing. And you think Lanzini, particularly his second goal and Arnautovic's goal, it was a fantastic strike, but it's just too easy, isn't it? It's too easy. We're letting teams play. We're letting teams do these things.
Again, me and Baz discussed Arnautovic. We made Arnautovic look amazing, and he's a good footballer, but he's like one of those lads that he's like Morales basically. His attitude is just like, well, when I can be arsed, I'll be arsed, and we made him look really good. But going back to what you're saying there about formation, we started with 3-5-2. And again, me and Baz had discussed this in the preview, maybe want to see a little bit different, but we're the only team who can go 2 up front and still look really negative. Because we've got 3 centre backs, obviously wing backs, do they suit it? I'm not so sure. No. And then 3 in midfield who were all, not saying they're all negative players, because I wouldn't say Tom Davies is a negative player, but there was no one in there who's going to help open up a side. And so really, even though we went 2 up front, see, this is the thing that you always try and get across about Sam Allardyce, whether you like him or not. And some people do like him, and because I've seen in the comments from the game, we went 2 up front, what you want, or but it's, if you set a team up, you could have 11 strikers on the pitch, that would be stupid. But if you ask them all to defend for 90 minutes, it doesn't make a difference.
Exactly.
It's the mentality, what you ask your team to do. And even though it was 3-5-2, we were still really negative.
Yeah.
And that for me was the foundation in which we lost the game.
Yeah, completely. So stale. And it was like we had no midfield.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's been like that for a lot of the season. There doesn't seem to be set positions, and that's a bang on point that you've just made there. You put 11 strikers on and tell them to defend. That's what they're going to do. There was no desire yet again, and we're saying this after almost every game. No fight, no desire. I mean, Cenk tossing up front had no service whatsoever. I think Nias always seems to be able to make things happen, which is a credit to him, I think, the way he's been treated. And if you'd have told me at the start of the season that Nias would have been our 2nd highest Premier League scorer, I'd have just laughed in your face. But actually, out of the team, he was looking to make things sort of happen yesterday. But other than that, the way we set up everything, like you said, Tom Davies is the player there that you'd look to try and make things happen, but then you've got Garner, you've got Schneidlin. I would have quite liked to have seen Davy Klaassen thrown in, to be honest, because what have we got to lose?
What have we got to lose?
Nothing.
Well, again, we start from the back. 3 at the back. I can't help think that he's playing 3. He's been playing 3 at the back, or he's tried to play 3 at the back in the last few weeks at various points because he wants to give Foons Murray game time.
Yeah,
which is fine. I've got no problem with that. But why not just start him then as a centre back? Why not just say take Keane out of it? Keane's not going to go to the World Cup.
Oh, he can't,
because he's had an horrendous season. And I'm not asked about England, but if England were to pick Michael Keane, I'd just think, why would you do that? Because he's been horrendous. So you just say to Keane, listen, you're not playing this game. He's playing. You tell him why. Playing next to Jags, and we get on with it. And you let Foons Murray play, but he doesn't. He goes for this 3 at the back, which doesn't suit anybody. Doesn't suit Jags, because I think when you play 3 at the back, it means that players have got to start the centre. We've seen this before. Centre backs don't quite, if they don't play it, they start following players round.
Yeah.
Which is what you're not supposed. And that's where the first goal comes from. Jags follows Lanzini out because he doesn't know what to do with him. Keane's like a robot, right? That has got a certain program. As soon as it gets derailed from that program, it's fucked. Basically, just clashes.
He needs people to hold his hand in through games, and we can't have that going forward. There's huge question marks over Keane. I think we've spoken about this before, Ped, about like wanting him to do well. We all want him to do well. He's an Everton player, and you're like, oh, he's English and he seems like a nice lad, but it's gone on too long. It's been a whole season of that wanting, and if he's got Jags next to him and Baines and stuff, and people to hold his hand through it and talk him play by play what he should be doing, then he kind of scrapes by. But in that back, just in the back 3, he's lost. He's completely lost.
You've got to simplify for him. And then next to him is Foons Murray, who's been out, who I don't particularly think is a very good player anyway, and I've generally always had that view of him. I just think he's erratic. We've seen that a few times.
He's scared when he plays.
But he has come back from a long-term injury, so you've got to do the best for him as well.
Yeah.
And that system doesn't do the best for anybody, though, because you've got, as I say, you've got Jags, who's an aging defender who wants to just do one job. You've got Keane, like you just said, needs his hand holding for the entire game, wants everything simplified for him. At Burnley last year was at his best in a 4-4-2. Had a guy next to him who played with every single week, had a fullback next to him every single week, knew the game inside and out, so you have to simplify it. And in Foons Murray, you've got someone who's come back from injury and is also erratic. So, and you've also got a system that we've played like 1.5 times or something like that recently, so it doesn't feel like it's something that's been worked on. It doesn't seem like it helps. And then what you've got then in wing backs, you've got 2 lads who, let's say 7 or 8 years ago, would have been the absolute perfect wing backs if you wanted wing backs.
Definitely.
But not anymore.
Yeah, well, they're getting on, aren't they?
Well, you've got Baines on one side, who, again, he wants to be comfortable in his position. He knows playing left back inside and out.
Yeah.
Knows it inside and out, right? You ask him to sort of play a little bit further up the field, he doesn't it's not his job. He doesn't know how to. Seamus is the same, and I wouldn't say Seamus is the same because of his age. I just think I remember when Seamus played right wing for a little bit for Everton, and everyone thought it was the way to go because we had a right back and we didn't have a right wing, and everyone was like, this will be perfect. He played right wing and he didn't have a clue. Because he's so good at playing attacking right back and coming round the back, using the midfielder and getting round the side of and he does it so well because he comes late. But when he was playing right midfield, he suddenly like squared up to the fullback, and he didn't have the tricks and the skills to beat him. And I think it's the same at wing back. He doesn't quite know where to go. He's 28 now or 29, whatever. He's been playing in a system. You just can't throw players into systems and go on, lads. And I think that's what we did on Saturday. And it just, for me, it derailed any of the sort of good stuff, because we've been, let's be honest, we've been reasonably decent at the back recently, you know. Last week we were okay apart from one miss. Well, in a 3 we the week before at Huddersfield we were fine. We've been okay, and that's what's been getting us wins, because clean sheets, if you're only going to have a couple of shots on target to score from one, you need clean sheets. So we've been doing okay, but to go into this 3 is just, joke.
It really is.
So accommodate Funes Mori, by the way.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that was his first start in over a year or something, and you do feel like he's been, the last few games, he's been getting more and more game time, and I do think that's exactly right. You can see Allardyce, can't you? Well, he's an Argentinian international, can't have him on the bench kind of thing, but...
Which is fine. Play him, just don't play Keane.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's players all season long have been played out of position, and it's detrimental to them, as you said. The last game of the season, it's a time of change. We all know Allardyce is going to be gone. Now it's being reported that it will be in the next 24 hours. So, but it would have been just good to try and go out on some sort of high, retain any kind of confidence or whatever, instead of this mess in which we've been left.
So what you've basically got there, though, you've basically got 5 defenders. You haven't got 3-5-2. You've got 5. Yeah. So you go into the midfield and you've got Sneijderlin and Garner, and you know exactly what you're going to get out of them. Sneijderlin's not mobile enough, and Garner just runs around chasing fires. And then you've got Tom Davies, who isn't in good form really. Doesn't really know what his role is in this team.
Yeah.
And he's doing the same thing. He's running around trying to chase fires, and then you're away from home and you're looking for some kind of creativity, and it's not there. You've got 2 lads up front for me who are both goal scorers. Not they don't create. Nias dropped off a little bit, but he's not going to create. I mean, really, he should have put us 1-0 up.
Yeah, he should have. He could have had a hat-trick, couldn't he, yesterday, to be honest?
He should have buried that first chance he got, after Pickford had made a couple of great saves. He should have buried that.
Yeah,
but he's not going to drop off. So he will chase and he will harry and he will try and make things happen. But again, then he needs, intelligent balls.
He's not a playmaker, is he?
No, he's not. No.
We didn't have that playmaker on the field. We haven't all season.
For a team that started off with more number 10s than it could fucking swing a cat at, we've ended up the season with no number 10s.
Yeah.
Obviously Sigurdsson's still injured, Rooney injured, and Klassen on the bench. So it's just, again, where the fuck's Vlasic, by the way?
They bring him out, and how cruel is that on the lad as well? That's the worst thing you could do, is bring him in to play a game and a half, little cameos here and there, the odd. In some games he's put on for the last 5 minutes, which I just think is almost insulting, to be honest. But you can't bring the lad in, give him a bit of game time, then throw him back out again. That's the worst thing, because you're stopping and stalling him. Put him in the cupboard now again till will we ever see him again?
Who knows? Next time you see him. No, it was indicative of Allardyce though. Last game of the season, and there's nothing inventive about it. There's no imagination. There's nothing that gets anyone excited. There's no one that changes the narrative. There's nothing. It's all same old. There's no, don't get me wrong, I didn't want to see a team of 11 under 23s or something. I just wanted to see either some variation or someone else get a chance, because players were missing. What I get, Walcott was on the bench. Why is Walcott on the bench if he's fit?
He's a starter. We missed him the other day, didn't we?
We've missed him in both of the final 2 games. If he's there, he's a threat. He starts making the opposition think about what they're doing. And what we didn't have on the pitch on Sunday were any players who actually made them think, oh, he's a threat, I can't go forward. So they were really comfortable on the ball. They just kept the ball. Our midfield had to chase around, and that's all they did. We're not inventive enough. We don't have players on the pitch who are inventive. And this is weird. I think this is the biggest problem with what the fans have got with Allardyce, is there's no I know people say, well, you know what you get, but I don't know what you get.
No,
there's no defined way is there to play under Allardyce. There was no threat. There was no we're going to go long ball and Cenk Tosun's going to flick it onto Nias. There was nothing. And I think that's where the frustration comes from the fans.
Yeah, and I think actually you do know what you're going to get, but you don't. What you know you're going to get is shit, but you just don't know what variation of shit you're going to be served up on any given day.
You know what? Allardyce. That should be on a t-shirt, that statement. Profound words of wisdom there. No, you're right. It's, as I say, that's the frustration. I know. Listen, it's the last game of the season. No one's going to be ranting and raving about it, but so I sort of am ranting and raving.
We're ranting.
But it's just the lack of inventfulness, and obviously we went 1-0 behind, a really poor goal to concede. Jags gets dragged out, No one fills the space. That the ball ends up with Lanzini.
It's the easiness of it as well. It's like the passing around in the box and stuff. We're just standing off them.
Yeah.
Like they may as well not be there.
That just comes though for me from players who just don't know how to play the system. They don't know where to be, and they don't know. And that runs through a whole team. If you suddenly say to a team, right lads, we're playing 3-5-2, everyone just goes, well, hang on. I've been struggling to do my job all season. Now you're asking me to change my job. I think that's where I just, that's where it comes from. Half time, he obviously makes a change. He brings Davy Klassen on, but it didn't really change anything because you're asking a lad who's hardly played football for an entire season to come on and do something and get into the pace of a game, and he never really did. And it was only, from our point of view, I think it was only when Walcott came on that suddenly we had a threat. Obviously we were 2-0 down by then, but that was he suddenly created a threat, and we obviously got a goal. But again, that shows you need players like Walcott to someone who just scares the opposition.
That's exactly it, isn't it? Like whenever you've got the likes of Walcott on the pitch, the opposition's always going to think this lad can turn and run at us and whip a ball in, have a shot, whatever it is. He is dangerous. Without him on the pitch, we missed him so much the first half the other day and the previous game as well, because nothing was happening whatsoever. And it's worrying really that he is kind of the only player at the moment that you look to create, if you like.
Well, he is like the definitive player you need to buy. You need to buy players who are a threat that the opposition is scared of. You can go out and buy as many sort of nice, pretty, players who are comfortable on the ball, but you need players who are an actual threat. Yeah. That's the difference in the Premier League. You look at the top team, they've all got players that I don't want to play against him. Or when they're not there, you go, oh, made up, he's not there.
Yeah.
Like last week Southampton and this week West Ham, they would have gone, oh, made up what Walcott's not playing. They probably would have gone and made up Rooney's not playing as well.
Yeah.
I think that's sometimes where you've got to take a step back and say, who would I not like to be playing it up? Who would I like to be up against? And you look at our team and go, I'm not really that fussed. If I was a West Ham fan, I'd be like, yeah, we're going to beat these today.
Yeah. There's no one on the pitch where you go, oh, we've got to watch out for him today. Like you said, you've got to watch out for... In the end, he did score with Umar-Niasse and Jenks. Like you said, they're finishers, they're strikers. They can hit a ball and they know where the net is. But if they've got no one to make things happen for them, then they're not going to score.
That's it, isn't it? That's the Premier League and top and bottom. It's you can have a Cenk Tosun, but I'm not going to... If I'm the opposition, I'm not going to sit there and look at Cenk Tosun and go, he's going to hurt us today. Because I'm thinking... Just don't get the ball. I suppose that's the difference between someone like Arnautovic. He does it sporadically, but before the game, I even tweeted Arnautovic is going to score today because I felt like personally they'll allow him enough time on the ball that he will, and he did. We'll talk about the goal in a minute, but we just don't have enough of those players, and that's what we need to do this summer is go and find those players and get to the heart of the matter and say, you know what we miss? Actual dangerous play. Yeah. That's the most frustrating thing about Ademola Lookman not being around is that I look at Balassi, and as much as I want Balassi to do well, I look at him at the current state of things and go, you're not going to do it for us, because when you get the ball, I don't feel like you scare the opposition.
No.
Whereas Lookman, I look at him and I've always thought this is that if you've got your head on, you can scare those players. It's more down to what you do. But I think it's getting that thought in the first place. Well, this lad's good. And we don't have enough of those players. And that's what we've got to go and do this summer, I think.
Yeah, definitely. That's a bang-on point there as well about Yannick Bolasie. I think we all really want him to do well because he's a nice guy and it's like he's really happy that he's playing football and stuff.
We spent a shitload of money on him as well.
Exactly, 30 million. And, don't get me wrong, I'm delighted that he's come back from his injury for him, and because it was a real horror injury, and you always want to see players come back. But I'd struggle to think of him doing that much before the injury anyway. I know he didn't have that much time, but that point you raised so bang on. He doesn't scare the opposition. When I see him, I don't think, oh, he's going to tear them one today, and that's what you need him to do. When he used to play for Palace and he'd come to Goodison, I used to dread it because he would tear us for bursts in the game. It's just not been there anymore. And Lookman, he has got that, despite his age. He's a young kid, and that he comes on. He's got the confidence. He's got the. It's not an arrogance, I won't say, but he knows he's good, and he knows what he's capable of, and you can throw him on the big games. Look at him at Anfield. He comes on and he's taken on the team. The Liverpool fans were shitting themselves. I've got mates that are Reds that said, when he come on, we thought, you're going to do it, and he never played again.
That's where, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to go overboard out looking. He was a bit of a match of the day player, and where other people would go, why isn't he playing? And you'd have to go, well, I know you've seen him against Liverpool, but in other games he hasn't been great. But what we found, what it seems to have happened over at Leipzig, is that because he's had a run of games, he started to find that pace, which is what all young players need, I think. But I look at those top 6 teams in the Premier League, or certainly the top 5 anyway, and I go, if you're playing against them, you go, fucking hell, City, the whole team, United. They've got Lukaku and they've got him and they've got him. Liverpool, they've got fucking hell, look at that front 3.
Yeah. Same with Tottenham.
You go Kane, Dele Alli, Eriksen. Arsenal or Chelsea, you go, well, they've got Giroud Canadian and Hazard Canadian, and you're always wary when those players get the ball. Arsenal, when they had Sanchez and Ozil, and especially
Lacazette,
and Aubameyang now. You look at whereas Everton, you go, well, who's going to hurt? If I was opposition, who's going to hurt us? And you go, well, Walcott, generally by reputation of what he did for Arsenal, and what he's done a little bit at Everton as well. But past that, you just go, there's no one who can hurt us here. And I think that's the big thing now in Premier League. You've got to have a good number 10 or a couple of midfielders who can hurt players, because teams are so well adjusted to each other now that even if you've got a good striker, if you can cut that ball off to him, it's pointless.
There's nothing that's going to be done.
And that's what basically happened on Sunday. They just didn't let the ball get to our strikers, and that was it. You know what I mean? Well, if you look at the second goal for them, again, it's horrific. I mean, I honestly don't know what Keane's doing there with Arnautovic. He just, like, my analogy was, it was like he had a tugboat pulling them round in a circle, and he said boats turn, because he just went round in this big circle, and you just like stay there, and he'll have to go. You don't need to follow him round. You just stay in your position. The shot, it was a great shot in terms of like pace and that. But I still can't figure out what the fuck Jordan Pickford is doing.
Should save it, shouldn't he? It's right at him, he should save it. And I know what he's saying about Keane for the goal as well. It made me think, actually, of, when you see like a dad playing football with a kid in the park and they're standing off to let him, like going, oh, go on. And that's what he's like. It's just bizarre to watch, and we've seen it far too many times from him this season. And as you say, Arnautovic hits the ball really well. He gets a load of power. It's a beautiful strike, but it's one way you should go, what a strike, what a save. Or Pickford, he should be saving that for me.
I don't know whether I think goalkeepers, the best goalkeepers, don't react to where the ball's going. They react to where they think the ball's going. Like when you see an amazing save and you go, well, how did he save that? Like, how did his reactions get him there? It's not that they're reacting to the ball, it's because they have the experience and they know where that ball is gonna travel to. So they get into the right place at the right. That's why when you see sometimes with goalies and you go, they look stupid. It's because they've dived because they think the ball's gonna go. It's basically like a penalty, isn't it? They don't on a penalty, they dive to where they think the ball's going to go rather than when the ball goes. And I think he sort of anticipated one thing, and the other things happened, and it's made them look very stupid, and that might be because of the pace of the ball. I mean, the first one, I think he could have done a little bit better as well. I think it got highlighted on Match of the Day. And the third one, I really think he should do better on it.
He should save the third one for me. That's it. And it looks like a beautiful strike, and it is a good strike from Lanzini. But for me, I agree. He gets a touch on it, and I think he's got to get a stronger hand to it and tip that one behind the goal.
I think Coleman lets him down for that as well, because I think, not let him down, I think he lets the team down. I think Lanzini can only go one place, and that's inside. And once Coleman's let him come inside, he's only going to do one thing. He's like a bit of a Coutinho light. He's going to, he's going to whip one in.
Coutinho light.
But I think he should be doing better. I think he should have done better for all 3 goals. And listen, I'd rather be sitting here going, it's a strange one that we've seen that, because he's had a good season, obviously playing
yeah.
season, but he still makes mistakes because he's a young lad, and young players will make mistakes whether they are anywhere on the pitch. And certainly him, don't forget, this is his second season in the Premier League. You know, one for Sunderland and one for Everton, and he is bound to make mistakes. All goalies will. I've seen Chelsea. I think Chelsea's first goal on Saturday against Newcastle, Courtois sort of loses the ball in the air and then pushes it up and allows Gale, and you're like, there's a lad with a little bit more experience, you know, who's made a mistake. De Gea made mistakes his first 2 seasons. In fact, Sir Alex Ferguson used to drop De Gea against teams that he knew would bombard them and play Lingard, not Lingard, what's the other kid's name? The other goalie, he used to play him in goal because of the physical aspect, and De Gea grew into it. So I'm not worried. You know, he's got to learn from these things and understand that. He's got to get it right.
He hasn't, you know, he'll get a bit of stick for that on Sunday, and he should have done better for all 3 of the goals, I think. But as you said, we can't forget the incredible season that he's had. Despite conceding those 3 goals, he's still made. This is the thing with him. He's still making brilliant saves almost every single game, and has done. And I think he's got nothing in front of him, has he? I mean, he must, as a keeper, be shitting himself when he looks and sees Ramiro, Funes Mori, Michael Keane, and Jags. Like, it must be terrifying for him. And I think he's composed himself really well this season with his confidence and his, you know, he's not afraid to dictate and shout and raise his voice and be animated and be a leader, and we need that, and he never hides either. He never hides, and I respect him for that.
He probably just wants a season like a quiet season. His last 2 seasons, Sunderland, and now this season, the amount of goals Everton conceded, he's had his work cut out of him. He's going to make the odd mistake. It was just unfortunate that's on Sunday. They all sort of led to goals, but I mean, we did score. I mean, it got us back in the game. It was a lovely goal, actually. Nias's first touch was fantastic.
Brilliant.
And the way he finished it was brilliant. But before that, like, I couldn't believe Sam Allardyce took Tosin off. I just couldn't believe it. Because you're getting beat 2-0. And again, last game of the season, you're thinking, well, yeah, bring Walcott off. Bring Snidlin off. Or bring Tom Davies off.
Yeah, and that's what we were thinking.
Yeah, you know, let's get us a little bit more offensive. You know, you'd still have 2 holding midfielders on the pitch, whether you brought whoever you took off. Exactly. And then you'd have Klassen on there, a little bit more attacking impetus. At that stage, I think Davies was playing on the left.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, get Theo on, keep 2 up front, and let's have a go with these. Let's turn them round. Let's see what happens. What's the worst can happen? It's last game of the season. No. He brings fucking Tosin off, who was absolutely furious.
Yeah, which I love, by the way. I love the fact that he...
But he was looking at it going, why are you taking me off?
Yeah.
Why? What was the point? Like, he was looking at it going, you're getting beat 2-0, and you're taking a centre forward off for a winger. How is that good? You know...
That is Sam Allardyce for you, though, isn't it? And this is for all the people, I know yourself included, and a lot of us will get stick on Twitter about hounding Allardyce and what more do you want, and you got 8th and this and that and the other. Just, that's exactly it. We're 2-0 down away to a West Ham side who only the previous week secured their Premier League safety, and we're not having to go. We're 2-0 down and we're taking off our centre forward. It's just madness. And we saw it the week before. Who did he take off? And he put on it again. He put Funes Mori on for taking, and that's just Allardyce for you. He's trying to protect a 2-0 loss. It's just bizarre.
Yeah. What? Anyone who defends Sam Allardyce, or anyone who says, well, what do Everton fans want, whether it be journalists or whether it be Everton fans, you know, I've seen there's plenty, if you go on comments and stuff on our videos, it's a bit unnerving. But the main point is that those decisions are why fans don't want Sam Allardyce, because those decisions tell us as fans that he isn't willing to risk things.
Yeah. And
you've got to risk. You've got to have risk to win. We as fans, some of us more than others, lived through like Moyes. Now Moyes had limitations because of financial limitations and stuff. Certainly in the second half of his time at Everton, and there was loads of games like that where he would make decisions like that, and it's sort of got us to where we wanted something completely different, and since we've never really been able to settle on one thing or the other.
Yeah.
But fans want that little bit of entertainment and want you to risk. And if you're getting beat 2-0, there is no risk.
Exactly.
There's no risk.
You're losing, you're going to lose. The only thing to do in terms of salvaging anything is, bring Walcott on. Walcott should have been on the pitch in the first place, as we said. But bring him on. Don't take your striker off. It's just madness.
Go and say to the opposition, right? You've just you nailed it on the head. They saved themselves last week. They're not a great side by any means. You go and ask questions and you say, all right, well, we're going to up front. We're going to have Walcott. We're going to be a little bit more direct. We're going to be a little bit. We're going to get. We're going to have. We've got Klassen on the pitch. You can use the ball a little bit better. We're going to keep the shape, but we're going to be a little bit. No, we're just going to have Nias up front, Walcott running around a bit, and you're just like, what? What's the point?
No desire to win.
What's the point?
No desire to win, and that's why I liked the fact that when Cenk got subbed off, that he's thrown his bib down and everything, and he's visibly very annoyed at the fact he's been hooked, and because he's probably thinking. That's exactly it. You've just basically said we've got no desire to win these games, and that's the case for every single game under Sam Allardyce. You get the impression, even games that we have won, it's just so happened. We just happened to win. He's not gone out and thought we're going to win this today. We'll get a 0-0, and then we'll see if we get a set play. If Michael Keane can come up and balloon a header about 6 yards too high or whatever, and that's generally been the way it's gone.
When you have. On one or two shots on target. I mean, funny enough, I think on Saturday we had like 5 or 6.
We had more than them, didn't we?
So we've done all right. I think we only had 4 shots on target and they scored with 3 of them. But there you have it. This has been the final word of the season. Plenty more videos are coming from us. Probably about 8 daily in the next week or so. Sarah, you'll hear her on the Blue Room ranting and raving. They're the same. They'll be non-stop because hopefully Everton will be non-stop. There's no downtime. They're downtime in the off season.
Things have got to be happening.
Transfer window opens on Thursday.
It's mad. Where's the manager? Get him out.
Get it sorted.
Get it sorted.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments anyway on anything we spoke about. We'll see you later.